Hello, and welcome to Geeks Assemble once again. And today we are talking about a TV episode from a early 80s British TV show where there was only 13 episodes ever made. We are talking about a House of Horror, and this particular episode we are going to discuss is The Children of the Full Moon. Well, I think you can guess what this one's about. Just um, we'll go to Stephen Price first. We'll see what his first thoughts of the Children of the Full Moon is. Stephen, up to you.
Right. Hello. Uh, this is my favourite out of all of the Hammer House of horror, TV series. Diana Dawes was absolutely brilliant as the mother of the house. Very creepy location. Uh, just excellent it is.
Thanks, Stephen. Beef Dad, what do you say about this episode?
Yeah, wonderfully creepy, really atmospheric. Christopher Cazenove, totally convincing as the husband. Celia Gregory, she did a brilliant job. But everything goes to Diana Dawes on this for a superbly creepy performance from her. Yeah, she was nice and she was sweet and she was kind, and you knew that behind it all there was something really unpleasant going on. And she was just so good. The first time you see one of the children, she's looking up, she's been eating a lamb. She's got blood all around her mouth, and it's just well, yeah, it's very well done. It's well directed, and it's not too slow. It's not too slow. I didn't find it that slow. I thought it was going to, because I remember watching it when it first came out 300 years ago. And I don't know, so for some reason I had a remembrance of it being a bit on the slow side. But watching it today, it wasn't slow. It was controlled. And that was the excellent thing about it. It was controlled. There wasn't lots of people leaping about all over the place with fangs flashing and claws clawing. There was none of that. It was just so controlled. It was excellent, and it all ended up in your head. Very, very cleverly done.
Yeah, I wish sometimes our cast was that controlled. Let's move over to Susan and Alex. What did you think of Children of the
Boo! Ha! Rawr! Rah, rah, rah. I think it was great. It was fun, and it was like Little Red Riding Hood goes bad. Like, here are these people just off to have a nice vacay, and suddenly on their halls they're hauled into this room and locked in there and forced to change or die. Anyway, that was crazy cruel. Anyway, it was fun.
Okay. Yeah, I don't seem to remember this having a huge impact on me, but I do love the series. One day I'll have to get the TV shows and the movies. I think the movies are better, and of course you're able to do more in movies than you can on TV shows. Amazon's selling them, as a matter of fact, for the internet. If you buy them for around $3. This was creepy. I don't remember seeing the scenes exactly the same way. It did remind me a little bit of the Omega Factor in terms of when the car was speeding up and they couldn't seem to control it at first. But again, that's another, mostly realistic version of horror is when everyday things turn against you, and you don't always think about how, just like in other movies, I'm not going to mention them, where you think you're safe cooking in the kitchen or you think you're safe in the bathtub or in the bathroom, and people forget that can turn to something sinister, maybe accidentally or not. And that's always good when you can present it, especially in TV or movie form. Um, that's what makes it creepy. That's what makes it somewhat realistic, is that you don't realize that, something bad could happen. You could fall, you could, have something explode on you while you're cooking. And that's actually kind of creepy. That's very scary, especially when it happens to you in real life. It's not just a movie. As far as the actual show, that the acting was very good. Some of the scenes were really scary, and they jump on you right away, and that's good that there wasn't as many jump scares as there are today. Today, it's too many jump scares. It's very predictable. Back then, it wasn't, and that's what made it even scarier, is that it wasn't predictable. Um, yeah, and it's also creepy. The creepiest thing is when somebody turns on you, when you think they're sweet or good or usual, and then they go to that dimension or they go to that level, and you go, and they're not teasing, they're not making fun, they're actually turning on you, and that's very frightening. And that, I think that's the point of the 60s, 70s, and the 80s TV shows, is that they showed you, part of life that now is sort of overdone with all the internet and the videos and all that, is that that's pretty scary when, again, just like the accidents in the kitchen and the bathroom, when you see that actually happening, and you go, oh, this isn't a movie. You can't turn it off. You can't walk away from it. That's real horror. But like I said, the episode was good. The acting was good. I didn't really like the story, but then again, you're not going to like every horror story either, but it was well done, and that's what the Hammer series is known for, is having, it's atmospheric, it's pretty much realistic or quasi-realistic. They have a great cast. They always did. And so, when you're watching it, much like Twilight Zone, you're not wasting your time.
Thanks for that, Alex. Right, Brian. You there, Brian?
Yes, I'm here.
Oh, damn. Over to you, Brian.
Thought you could get rid of me, but I'm here. Keep on grooving. Well, okay, my turn. What I thought of this episode of this particular series is I liked it. I honestly did not like it. But I was going to say I hated it, didn't you, Lee? Got you on that. But I did enjoy this this episode of this series. I never watched the series before. I never heard it. I never heard of the series at all until you guys mentioned it. And when I watched this episode, I enjoyed it. It was really good. I enjoyed every minute of the episode. But I will admit that the beginning was a bit close. Like where the little girl eats the lamb, which is a little close, but I got through it, and because I'm used to watching horror films, so I got through the scene, and I enjoyed the rest of the film. yeah, the storyline of it was great. It was spooky. It was creative, and just I absolutely enjoyed it. The kids are creepy and stuff. Like, what is it with all these things that we're doing with kids? Very, very weird. But they just very eerie and creepy with the element of creepy children. But again, it's very weird that we're doing most of these casts on the creepy children. Anyway, but and the fact that the fact that they just kill the characters, the main two characters within the episode, were just like, I was just like, what the fuck? Because they're the main characters of the episode, and they just kill them off like that. It just was like, what? So, but other than that, I did enjoy the episode. It was a good episode. I'm sure the rest of the series with the episodes are good. I'm probably gonna check them out maybe some point, maybe because I'm a bit interested of what they are now. So I'm gonna take an interest in seeing these series. So this series and the episode, I would have to say, pretty damn good. So I enjoyed it.
Thanks for that, Brian. And as you're saying about creepy kids being, working horror so well, this is why we have you in our cast, Brian. He's not going to retaliate there, is he? But the scene with the young girl right at the beginning of the episode with the lamb and the blood, that was there to get your attention, and it does. It works straight away, because that's the only gory thing in this episode, is that bit at the beginning. But story it's just brilliant. As Beef Dads and people have mentioned, Dinah Dawes. I mean, she was known as she was a blonde bombshell, and to take this role as an old housekeeper, with greying hair, it was something different, because you'd never seen her like that before. So she for me made the story. The kids, yeah, creepy. The werewolf thing, yeah, I just loved this. It works so well. I mean, this series works so well. Every story, only 13 of them, works so well. But this one, I would say this is one of my favourites from the series. I would agree with Stephen on this one. It is one of the best. But there is some good ones in the series. So, but it's had everything. It had the woods. It had the mist. It had an old house in the woods. What? It couldn't go wrong, could it? Really? This, it's just everything for a horror story. So, yeah, loved it. It was good to sit down and rewatch this, because it must be a good 5 years since I last saw this episode. It's good to dust down my old DVDs and rewatch them. So, favourite moment, thanks. Let's go to Beef Dad.
I think one of the creepiest bits for me was when Celia Gregory was giving birth to the child, and we by then have worked out that it's not Christopher Casano's child, it's from the werewolf. And her giving birth and then dying. And it's Diana Dawes' reaction is, well, this was all to be expected. It's not a problem. It's happened before. We won't worry about it. And then the little girl that had been eating the lamb at the beginning walked over, looked at her, and I thought to myself, is she going to bite her? And she doesn't. She covers her face. And all the children are standing around watching, oddly enough, including Diana Dawes' son, Jason. He was one of the children. He was 11 then. But yeah, that bit has always stood out in my head. The running through the woods, that could have come from any horror film. But it was done really well. And the meeting of Christopher Cazenove and the werewolf, played by Jacob Whitkin, and he says he's going to take him to the house, and he doesn't. He takes an axe to him, and that. But the thing is, it was, you could see him chop with the axe, but you didn't see any blood. They didn't show the gore then for these things on television, and it worked well because, as I said before, one of the things is it gets in your head, and it all develops in your head, and the way it's written is to do that, and it's just very, very cleverly written and very, very well directed. That's me.
Thank you, Beef Dad. Thanks for that. Susan and Alex, what's your favourite bits or dislikes about the episode?
Favorite bit was the bit where the huntsman or the woodsman turns into the werewolf, and then ends the dad, and then the other one that I liked was the labor and baby birth. That was kind of cool. So those are my favorite bits.
Well, like I said, the cast is very good. Yeah, I mean, obviously, this seems like a combination of fantasy and horror, and they're probably doing a little bit of a tribute to, or trying to do a flip take on the Little Red Riding Hood, which, depending on which version you see, is either very funny or very scary. And then they had another version from Fairy Tale Theater where the wolf was British and cracking jokes and all this. But yeah, that's horrific as well. And then, of course, that's another common theme in a lot of horror movies of, just like we mentioned, Rosemary's Baby and The Omen and all that, of body horror, of supposedly normal things, turning against you, sort of. And yeah, it is a shock, and it was a credit to the writers that they killed the two main characters, and they did seem a little bit more helpless, even though they tried. So I don't know. Also, I think some people I would have said that the minute that you can't control the car, it's time to turn around and head back. But that would have ended the story. But like I said, the cast is very good. So I mean, it's always good if you can watch a TV show that's intelligent, that is well acted, that is well written, and you can make it more commonplace, where it doesn't seem as super fast paced and jump cut as they do today. And I think that takes out some of the attention span, and it takes out some of the thought that you need with fiction stories. You need it well thought out.
So wise words from Alex. Brian, any favourite bits in this, or things you didn't like?
No, nothing I didn't really like. Because I mostly enjoyed all the things and little things that they had within the episode. I enjoyed the episode itself. It what a great and fantastic episode that I've watched. So I enjoyed it. But one thing I thought was really cool was the design and effects that they had for the werewolves, for the design makeup that they had for the kids, and also for that one character that they had at the end, that the man with the axe, that eventually he turned out he was a werewolf as well. In fact, I found his makeup to be the most cool and the best that they had for a design of a werewolf. But yeah, I just loved all of it. What a hell of an episode, and one hell of a series that I'm pretty much interested of watching. So it's
good.
really cool.
I'm glad you liked it, and I'm glad that you're interested in watching more of them. So I hope you do. Stephen, your favourite bits or any dislikes?
My favourite bit is after the woman sees the wolf in the window, and then the wolf comes in the bedroom where she is, and the reaction of Diana Dawes and all the children on the stairs. You know, Diana Dawes smiling, so evil, so brilliantly done. The part where the guy acts as the husband. Another part I want to say about when the car goes out of control and they stop and all that and they talking. If that was made today, because he said, "Oh, can you phone a garage or something like that?" He'd say, "Oh, yeah, I'll use my mobile, or my mobile is in the house," like, you know.
How times have changed.
Yeah, and you don't see any phone boxes now. I haven't seen any for quite a long time.
I know. We move on in these modern times. For me, I was going to Stephen's just mentioned the bedroom, it's the rape scene, really, isn't it? Where the werewolf rapes the woman in the bedroom, where Dinah Dawes and the kids are all stood there in the doorway, watching, and then also, as they say, you see the evil on Dinah Dawes' face, and then she just slowly closes the door and let the werewolf do whatever he wants to them. That is just creepy. Also, the other little scenes, what always stuck in my mind was, the actress eating raw meat. She's down in raw steak or liver or whatever it was, at the table, or when she's driving in the car, just slivers of raw meat. Thinking, ooh. But yeah, all in all, pretty good story. One thing I did giggle at is the Axeman in the Woods, where Christopher Casanova is talking to him, and he's going to turn out to be the werewolf and the father of all the other kids. But it's the hair's growing on his face, gradually growing on his face every time you cut back to the man, the Axeman. And I'm thinking, that's a bit of cheap effect, just add a bit more eyebrow there. But if I was Christopher Casanova, I'd have pointed that out, what's happened to your face. I'd have run by then. But yeah, you can't have everything. But it is still a good story. It's only, 40 to 50 minutes long. And they did get a lot of storyline into that time. So, any trivia or any tidbits anybody wants to share, or shall we move on to scoring?
Another part where the woman, the wife is going through the woods and her husband is running. He must have met that man as the wolf.
Yeah, because he described a shaggy animal.
Yeah.
Dinah Dawes just said it must have been a stag. Yeah, but so let's go to final thoughts, final say and score. Let's go, Brian. What's your final say and score on this episode, Children of the Full Moon?
My rating, okay. My rating for this episode would probably have to be 10 out of 10.
Ooh, 10 out of 10. Well, that's well, the top score, shall we say? Stephen, what's your final say and score?
It gets an howling 10 out of 10 for me.
I like that. The dynamic duo on the sofa, Alex and Susan.
Well, I'll give it a 9 out of 10. Werewolf bites out of 10 because there was, it was a great story, and I thought that the kids did excellent work as kids, and thank you. Thanks for suggesting this.
That was down to Stephen. He suggested this one.
Yeah, I wasn't too thrilled with the story. It was interesting. I pretty much like the cast though. So I'd have to give it a 8 for the cast. But like I said, it's it's a great series. It's great company. They were probably one of the first ones to do it, and they were the first company that always had a great cast. So I mean, you can't fault the Hammer Horror for that. There's other examples that I like, but they usually did a very good job. And like I said, we did review, what is it, Tales of the Unexpected. And I don't know if all these series came out in 77 to 89. It seems like most of them did, actually. But yeah, I mean, yeah. I mean, well, Tales from the Crypt was what, the middle 90s before they ended that show. But that also had some good stories too. But that was more on gore and humor as well. I don't remember them doing too many serious stories. But it's a good thing that it wasn't just Alfred Hitchcock Presents, and it wasn't just the Twilight Zone, and it wasn't just the Omega Factor from Scotland that did good, scary stories like that. And it's good that they had, what was about 20 series overall in Western World that they did. They did stories like that, and it's good because it also challenged television as well. It wasn't just a movie genre or movie style.
Thank you. And Beef Dad, your final say and score.
I did enjoy the story. I loved the atmosphere of it. I loved the way they just pulled you in, and then it was all up in your head. It was very, very cleverly done. And Diana Dawes, what an amazing performance. And because of that, it gets a 10.
Brilliant. Thanks for that, Beef Dad. Me, before I score, I mean, I don't know if any of you know, but I'd just like to know why only 13 episodes was made of this, because this should have gone on for a few series, this, to be honest, unless it cost too much to make. Because every episode had a big name in every episode. But I'd love to know if anybody knows out there why there was only 13 episodes made of Hammer House of Horror. Leave a comment below, please, because it was worthy of more episodes, this series.
Well, let me ask a question here, if I may. Now I know I'm American, but how long did
you are not American.
How many movies were done, or what years were the Hammer horror series as far as the films go? Was it from the
Well, Hammer,
60s or was it from the 40s to the 60s or 40s to the 70s?
what the movies?
Yeah, the movies.
The movies. Hammer was, what was it? The early 50s. Yeah, early 50s up to 70s.
All right, so maybe they just had a little bit of money and they decided to do a TV version, I guess.
Well, this TV series was 1980, I think it was 80, 81.
Mm.
But as I say, it just appeared. It came and went. There was never to be seen again, sort of thing. I thought, well, the stories, the episodes, it was worthy of more to be made. And I'm just wondering if it just cost too much with the special guest stars in every episode. Because Peter Cushing was in one, and
Okay.
you had a guest star in every one, sort of thing.
Did they?
Pierce Brosnan was in one.
Yeah, I know Pierce Brosnan was in one.
Yeah.
Did the studio close down, or did the studio just end, or?
Hammer did, yeah. Hammer did close down, but then they came back in 2012, I think, didn't they, with The Woman in Black.
Oh wow! So they had almost a 25-year absence. That's strange.
Yeah. I don't know the reason why Hammer sort of faded out and then came back again. But, maybe it was just the people weren't watching that sort of genre of movies. Yeah. But oh yeah, well I digress there. Anyway, my score.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was just wondering if you guys knew, since you were closer to the country and the product, as to why the source material, as to why
it
seemed to fade away a little
out
bit.
there on Google somewhere the answer to. There'll be out there on Google the answer to all these questions and more. My score for this, I did love it. It's brilliant. As you say, Diana Dorsey's performance in this is the best thing about this, and so the eeriness and the creepiness of it. I'm giving this a 9.5. It's up there. There is some good ones in this series. So if you ever come across Hammer House of Horror, the TV series, I would check it out. So I would like to thank you guys in this cast for sitting down and watching the episode. I didn't force you. I didn't bend your arm. You did it all willingly.
No, you did. You did.
But Brian, you want to watch more of it now?
I know.
So there you go. Please leave a comment below. What you thought of the Children of the Full Moon or the Hammer House of Horror in general. Give us a thumbs up or a thumbs down. Either one. We're happy with either. You can find us on Facebook. Got a public group there. We're on Twitter at Geeks Assemble. We've got a Tumblr as well. And if you want to join in our casts, please get in touch, because we'd like people to we'd like some new faces, because quite frankly Brian's face does annoy me sometimes. So
Why?
if we can get some new fresh faces, then I can stop looking at that one. I can just push that one.
That's not right.
And I'm ignoring you, Brian. But please, if you want to join in, we don't bite much. But thank you guys again, and until next time, we'll be seeing you. And Brian, don't you dare! I'll slap you.